I hope you enjoy this episode of the Freediving Journal. Consider supporting the Freediving Journal and the Freedive Cafe podcasts by joining Patreon. For the cost of a cup of coffee a month, you can get access to extended episodes, uncut interviews, exclusive episodes, early releases, video versions, and discounts on freediving courses, workshops, and coaching from myself. Check it out at patreon.com/freedivecafe and dive safe. Welcome to the Freediving Journal, Episode 9, the News Dispatch for July 2022. My name is Donny Mack. I'm a professional freediving instructor, aspiring freediving athlete, coach, and educator, and the host of the Freediving Journal and the Freedive Cafe podcasts. Everything I do can be found at my home-based website, freediveandthrive.com. The Freediving Journal podcast is the ultimate source of knowledge and entertainment for the breath-hold divers of the world. Join my guests and myself for deep dives into freediving news, technique, science, and lifestyle. You can find the Freediving Journal online at freediveandthrive.com/journal. The sister podcast to this one is the Freedive Cafe podcast, where you can listen to long-form interviews with the world's freedivers. There are over 130 of these interviews now. It's an amazing source of knowledge and information and entertainment about freediving from freedivers. You can find the Freedive Cafe at freedivecafe.com, and both podcasts can, of course, be found on all good podcast players. On today's episode, we are joined by Jordy Duncan over in Brisbane, Australia. She is helping us catch up with all the latest news in the freediving world for the month of July. It was a bit of a quiet month, but of course August is a massive month. The vertical blue competition is underway. We're on day 2 as I record this part of the podcast. Should be coming out today, and we'll be keeping a close eye on what happens there, and we'll share all with you at the end of the month. We also have the IDA Depth World Championships taking place in Roatan in August, starting controversially a little only 3 days after VB. Already, let's just say, hey, Alenka, who attempted a 123-meter world record in constant weight yesterday. She almost made the dive, but had a little bit of trouble with the dive and ended up with a red card. But hey, no worries, you're an amazing athlete, and I'm sure you're going to pull it off. If not in the next few days, then at some point in the future, not too distantly, I'm sure she'll do it. And yeah, congratulations to Gary McGrath. We were really wanted to cheer you on here in Dahab, Gary, but the live stream cut off literally as you got to the dive line. Congratulations to all the other athletes who successfully managed to complete their dives, and it looked like a pretty good day for the first day. Okay, before we head over to Jordy, 2 things. I wanted to mention this now at the top of the show. I received a message from a listener concerning our coverage of the IDA Pool World Championships, and we mentioned a blackout that happened there. It was a Polish athlete named Bogusław Kraus, and according to the opinion of the listener, we were spreading unverified information and rumors, and based on what she saw with her own eyes, it wasn't like that. Now, I've listened back to what we said there, and I'll comment on that in a second, but this is what she explained to me. If this was a random contest with a random medic, we would have had a very sad ending. The situation was unseen, unimaginable for pool contests, and required a medic with experience in both reanimation and freediving, and the athlete was lucky to have such a medic there. The evacuation protocol was followed and executed totally correctly, and no, there was no waiting for an ambulance. There was an ambulance on standby by the pool, which is actually rarely done, even in World Championships. And the jury expressed approval of the way the safety and medic acted. From what I perceived, Polish team. The Polish team was also grateful for the adequate care. Other athletes also said that the organization did its best and could not be blamed for any blackout. So I'd like to thank the listener for providing this opinion. Now, both Jordy and myself had heard from persons who obviously shall remain unnamed that there was some issue taking with the way the safety of this athlete had been managed during his blackout, and that's just something that we heard by hearsay. Now listen, I want to make something very clear again, because I have said it before on the podcast. We are not journalists. We do not claim to be journalists. We don't follow any journalistic principles, and anything that you hear on the show should be taken with a pinch of salt. And we do express opinions on this show, especially me. It's my podcast, and I'll continue to rant every so often about things. But I did want to address this just in case I was out of line or someone was out of line. But I must say, I listened back to the recording, and in the same sentence when I mentioned that I heard something about this incident, I also stressed that it was complete hearsay and I can't really comment because I wasn't there. So please understand that the best I can do is qualify my statements in this way. I really don't have time to go and send emails to different people and IDA and the athlete and get independent verification of any of this hearsay. All I can do is state that it's hearsay and that it came through the grapevine, and that's how it works on the Freediving Journal. There is a gap open in the market for a truly, journalistic podcast abiding by pure journalistic principles. If anyone wants to take that up, then you're welcome to it. All right, the second thing is I'm still here in Dahab until mid-September, and I'm taking students for freediving courses and coaching while I'm here. So if you want to start freediving, continue freediving, or just do some sessions to improve your freediving, then get in touch. The best way to do that is to email me at donny@freediveandthrive.com, or use the contact page at freediveandthrive.com, or find me on Instagram at freediveandthrive and get in touch with me there. Also, I'm opening up 2 more spaces for remote coaching. If you are anywhere in the world and you would like a personalized coaching plan aimed more specifically at beginner and intermediate level freedivers who are looking to improve their fundamental condition as divers, so looking at things like flexibility, strength and conditioning, advanced stretching, equalization, and whatever kind of training you have access to, whether it be pool or depth, I can also program those sessions for you. But my focus as a coach is to make sure that people are doing the basic things right, getting enough sleep, eating well, and having a good solid foundation in other aspects of your health, and not just in what you do in the pool and giving you fancy CO2 tables and things like this if you don't need it right now. So if you're interested in that, if you would like a structured plan, if you would like a weekly talk, if you would like access to talk to me at any point in time and have all your workouts planned out carefully for you and then adjust it as we go through the weeks, then get in touch again. All right, let's head over to the news desk or the gossip desk or whatever you want to call it and settle down with Jordy for another good old blether about freediving happenings in July. Let's dive. All right. Okay, Jordy. Hello. Let's go. Let's dive into it. How are you doing today?
Yeah, pretty good. Busy, but yeah, let's dive in. How are you, by the way?
Yep. Yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm getting better. I'm recovering.
So July, in some instances, it's been a little bit quieter than the last couple of months. They've sort of been really jam-packed with competition results and news. We've still got a bit to get through in July. We will be sharing a new lobster weight product launch with you. Also, Vertical Blue coming up on the 1st of August, charging for their live stream event. We'll chat a little bit about that. We're also introducing a bit of a different segment this month called Where Are They Now? We've reached out to quite a few of our freediving athletes to ask them where they are in July, what they're training, what their next big competition is. In July, we've also released a couple of new Freediving Journal and Freedive Cafe podcast episodes. Donny, can you share with us those?
Yeah, so a couple of days ago, released the latest episode of the Freediving Journal podcast, which was episode number 8. And that was another deep dive. And the topic was pre-dive, relaxation, and breathing. So I discussed things like how to relax the body completely, how to work with the breath, and how to work with the mind and the thinking process of the mind in those few minutes before you take a deep dive. It's the first time that I've done an episode where I actually had to sort of write a whole script for it, in the sense that it was an 8,500 word essay that I worked from. So it was a huge amount of work, and that's why it took so long. But that is the whole point of doing these deep dives. And we had some submissions from Will Trubridge, Alexei Molchanov, Mirela Kardasovic, Thibaut Gignes, Walid Boudiaf, Tom Peled, Stefan Randig, a whole bunch of awesome submissions
The list
from
goes on.
guests as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was also a Freedive Cafe episode released a couple of weeks ago. That was the first time I ever released an episode that was filmed live, face-to-face interview. I did that one with Carlos Dietzel, who is a Brazilian competitive freediver and also the manager here in Dahab at Dahab Freedivers. So please go to if you want to watch the interview for the first time ever, Freedive Cafe interview, go to Freedive and Thrive YouTube channel and you can see it there. But of course, you can also listen to just the audio on the website, freedivecafe.com, or any good podcast player.
So let's get stuck in.
Yeah, let's go. So VB charging for the live stream, controversial.
A little bit of controversy, yes.
Yeah, we're lucky that we have some little spicy controversy like this that we can talk about this month.
I think most of the sort of social media posts and things that I've seen is sort of in support of, it's $40. Like this is a big event. Let's support freediving. Let's get behind it. Dive Eye is going to be there. And then there's been more talk has come out of that around why isn't freediving, supported by bigger sponsors, and why isn't it televised, and those kind of questions raised. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many people actually pay for the live stream and join in to watch. But I can't wait to watch. I'm so excited. They've been their Vertical Blue Instagram page has been releasing lots of teaser videos all week. I'm pumped.
Yeah, what I'd like to do is I'd like to do a poll on the Freediving Journal and Freedive Cafe Facebook page and just see who's in support of that there. I personally am like 100% in support of paying for good content, regardless of whether it's a movie or a piece of software or Spotify or whatever it is. But the problem here is that I think, they haven't gone about it very smart, like releasing this news that it's going to be a pay-per-view in the week before the competition is a little bit. And the other thing is that when you're going to pay quite a lot of money, $40 is a lot of money for a lot of people. You need to have a product that is of a high quality, and so far we haven't seen any high quality live streams coming from Vertical Blue. It's been technically challenging. And the commentary hasn't been amazing either. Let's be frank. That's the sort of general opinion. The quality of the production, the way it's been organized.
Who's going to be commentating?
Well, I have no idea because, the last we heard it was going to be Adam Stern, and it wasn't that long ago that, I was discussing this with Will, and it was going to be Adam, and then I don't know who is going to be commentating. Do you know?
I don't know. Adam's pulled out, but it'll be a surprise.
Yeah, I think that definitely we want to support. I mean, it's supporting Will to put on the competition. Let's be frank here. Like
Yeah, for
Adam
sure.
said something about supporting the athletes. It's like it doesn't really support the athlete. I don't think any money is going to the athletes, but we should check. I'll check with Will about that, and I'll actually insert that here. All right, so I did get in touch with Will about this. There seemed to be some suggestion coming from somewhere that some of the fees for the live stream might go back to the athletes. I asked Will about it. He said that none of the fees go to the athletes, and that the event is still operating in a deficit, so the money goes straight back to the organization of the event, which is perfectly understandable. So that's coming from Will Trubridge himself. I did do a poll about this. Only 30 people voted on it. I did it last minute, started yesterday, but did it last minute, started a couple of days ago, but 30 people voted on it through the Freediving Journal and Freedive Cafe podcast community forum page on Facebook. 70% said that it should be free. 10% said it was a great idea and they would pay, and another 10% said they were paying reluctantly. That's only 30 people, so again, like everything you hear on this show, take it with a pinch of salt, but that's what came out on the little poll I did on the Facebook community forum. All right, boom, let's go.
Yeah.
When
I
I
wonder if
released the
it's
episode,
I wonder if it's like to go towards having dive eye there, because I'm sure that
oh, for sure,
costs a bit, and
yeah,
I didn't I don't think it originally dive eye wasn't going to Vertical Blue, as I understand it. It was going to Ada World Champs, but I think it's going to both, so it's going to make a quick turnaround to get from one to the other. 96 hours, isn't it, between the two?
yeah. Well, I guess they're close,
Unless they've
pretty
got more
close,
than
relatively
one.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they do actually. They must have a backup drone and stuff, and I don't know how they do it. But yeah, I mean, so let us know what you think if you're on board with paying, or if you think it's too expensive, or if you think it could have been done another way, like through donation or something like this. And I mean, I may be talking out my ass here. It may be that they have really amazing plans for the content and the production this year. We'll see what happens. So what's next?
What's next? So in South Africa, we have South Africa's first black female freediving instructor. I don't like. I feel a bit uncomfortable saying that, but because I don't know, I don't really differentiate between black and white freediving instructor, but in South Africa, it's a big deal. So Zandal, and forgive me, but this surname has so many consonants. It's like
Yeah, I'm not going to try that one actually.
Anyway, Zandal Dolavu, something like that.
Okay, so we did get in touch with Zandila, and Zandila, which is our first name, sent us a little voice recording so that we can get the perfect pronunciation. To be honest, I still find the second name a little bit challenging, so we'll hear it from Zandila herself.
Hello, Jordan. It's pronounced Zandile Ndlovu. Zandile Ndlovu.
So there you go, straight from Zandila's mouth. And yeah, good luck to her with her instructing and her organization and everything that she does.
She, when she was younger, she had a near drowning experience. And then following that, taught herself to swim, got certified as a scuba diver before finding freediving in 2019. And from that point on in 2019, she just fell in love with freediving, and then in 2020 left her corporate HR job to become South Africa's first black female freediving instructor. And in her job as an instructor, she picks up children from Cape Town every weekend and drives them 45 minutes to the sea for snorkeling excursions.
That's cool.
She teaches, so lovely. She teaches the kids about marine conservation and pollution, and she's also set up a foundation called the Black Mermaid Foundation. And this was set up to create diverse representation in ocean spaces, sports, and careers in South Africa. So it's a really nice story.
Yeah, that's great. It's nice that she's using her new career to, not only
To
make a
educate
living for
and to
herself, but also to
yeah,
educate and
yeah.
improve things for people. That's awesome. So that says she set up this Black Mermaid Foundation. Okay, cool. So we'll put links to that in the show note. That's
In the show
nice.
notes. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll also maybe you want to reach out to her and get her name pronunciation. Maybe I can slip it in when
Yeah.
I do the um, when I do the final edit on this episode.
Yeah, sure. Our next piece of news, it's kind of like an ongoing piece of news, but I wanted to share it now because we're starting to see some teasers for the film. So the Avatar 2 movie, which is going to be released in December of this year, it the majority of it was actually filmed underwater, and it was a really complicated underwater setup and required years and years of technological research and months of training for all the actors, so that they could hold their breath for minutes at a time while acting. So the cast had to hold their breath and act without looking like they're, looking normal, not stressed, their cheeks not puffed out, their eyes, not burging out of their heads. And these scenes are running for 2 to 3 minutes. So it's a reasonable time for someone to be underwater, also having to concentrate on something else whilst holding their breath. So I think that's kind of cool. And of all the cast, Kate Winslet was able to hold her breath for the longest period of time. And this was on Pure O2, so maybe not so impressive to the freediving community, but she held her breath for 7 minutes and 14 seconds. So yeah,
I mean,
she was pretty impressed.
Yeah, I think it's not particularly a huge achievement to the ears of the educated freediver, but certainly for the general public, they're going to be like amazed by that. And
Yeah,
it's any kind of positive attention that we can get towards our sport and our activity, I think is a good thing. So
for sure.
hats off to her.
Yeah, I can't wait
So
to
it's
see that movie.
but it's coming out
December.
what, like 2035 or something like that?
No, this year, December this year.
I'm only joking, of course.
Okay. I'm so excited.
Since we've already been waiting like 15 years for this
it has been a long time between the first and the second one, but it was complicated. They had to do it all underwater, and they had to there's a lot of technological stuff that I don't understand that went into making the film look real, and yeah. We shall see.
Since we were just going through the episodes and we were trying to find the episode numbers for the guests that we're going to be talking about soon, I should also just quickly bring up that I did interview Kirk Crack, who was one of the main, if not the main guy who was responsible for training up the team on the Avatar movies. And I recorded an interview with him 2 years ago. We were talking about this movie. That was episode 83.
Wow.
Kirk
Awesome.
spent a couple of years working on the movie. So if you want to go and hear us talk about that, that was pretty cool. We talked about the technical freediving, using gas mixes for freediving and things like they did on the movie. Very interesting. So that was episode 83 of the Freedive Cafe podcast, not the Freediving Journal podcast. There are two podcasts. This is confusing the hell out of people, by the way, that there are now two podcasts.
Maybe you can merge them all into one somehow.
Well, things are going to change. There's going to be some new updates coming in the next couple of months, but I'll keep it a secret right now. It's not really a secret, but it's,
even from me.
Well, yeah, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you later about it. But yeah, I have to work on another project. So yeah, we'll save it for maybe next month.
So Donny, also I saw on social media, heard that Ada's removed another flag from the website,
from the Ada website. Yeah. Let's just very briefly say it seems that since what they did with Taiwan and removing Taiwan's individual identity from the IDA system and the IDA website, they seem to have thought, oh, but Hong Kong is also part of China, so let's also do it for Hong Kong. But what they don't realize is that the Hong Kong flag is officially recognized in the IOC and it's used in the Olympics. I think it's only been raised once. Only one Hong Kong athlete was on a podium in the Olympics, but it's actually officially allowed by the IOC. So I'm not sure what their reasoning is. They're probably just more scrabbling around in the dark, not really knowing what they're doing, which is basically how IDA operates in general. And final word here on IDA Taiwan situation. In the end, we gathered the necessary nationals together, the necessary number of nationals to call for a special vote to vote on the status of Taiwan in IDA. And I've now sort of put them all together, put them all in contact with each other. And now, because I'm not an official representative, a member of IDA, I'm leaving them to take care of it themselves. So hopefully we're going to see that vote.
Good job.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah.
Did you get anyone send in anything about why I freedive?
Yeah. Okay. So what is it that we're looking for with the why I freedive section?
So you want people to send in basically a recording, either a video or a voice recording, sharing why they freedive.
Yeah, just to answer the question very simply. Well, what I'd really like is if you could say like where you're from, who you are, a little bit about your background,
a little bit about yourself,
and then answer a little bit about yourself and answer the question why you freedive. And we're absolutely welcoming anybody to submit a recording for that. And what we'll do is we'll sprinkle those recordings into the news dispatch, probably the news dispatch. And please send that to Donny at freediveandthrive.com on email. Or if you're not quite sure what I'm asking for, then get in touch and we'll talk about it. But I'll be putting some stuff out on the socials in the coming week to sort of try to push that along a little bit.
All right, moving on to new products for July. So Lobster Weight, they released a new hard carry case for lobster neck weights. So this is kind of exciting because it's a bit
exciting
challenging.
For who exactly?
For pool freedivers.
For you,
for pool
glorified
freedivers.
Swimming weirdos, yeah.
It's a bit challenging to carry it around. Where do you carry it? Where do you keep it? Trying not to bend it, like treat it like gold because I've
seen a few of them break, because they once you bend that metal alloy
weakens
a few
the
times,
metal.
it just weakens and it can actually snap off. So this is pretty cool, I guess, if it's if there's some protective case for it.
Good for traveling. €89. So
it's very expensive.
Yes, but not as much as I was thinking
for a
it would
case.
be.
No, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
But anyway, like when you consider the cost of the item, €89, only available for small and medium lobster weight, neck weight sets at the moment, but Lobster has said, please get in touch if you have a large set, and they might be able to arrange something for you. In addition to launching this new carry case, Lobster has also announced a 10% price increase on all products from the 1st of August. Lobster's put out a statement saying this is not something they wanted to do, but rather something they needed to do, taking into consideration the state of the world and the constant changes in all areas for the last 2 years, especially the last 6 months. They're saying they were backed into a corner and had to make the decision. It's very important to understand that we are working on new products. We are working on a new version of the lobster neck weight, and there is a lot of work done behind the scenes to make sure these prices are justified. We always wanted to make sure our product was worth it, so stay tuned, and a lot of exciting things are coming in the near future. Thank you, and make sure to dive like no other.
Okay.
Yeah. So they basically they've got a monopoly of the market, like really in a pool sense. There's not too many competitors, so they can kind of charge what they want. But then I can understand, like, they're based in Moldova, right next to Ukraine, and I know that the war has impacted them a lot.
Yeah, I know they are very, very good. I was blown away the first time I used a lobster neck weight.
Yeah.
If I was if I was in your position, for example, as primarily a pool free diver, I would definitely fork out the money for one. I think 90 euros for what is probably like a plastic case is
It's
I
a
don't know. I mean,
shockproof case with waterproof sponge. I don't know why you need waterproof sponge
yeah,
when
I don't
the
know why you
item
need
goes in the
shockproof.
water.
I don't know why you need
For
shockproof for
dropping, like,
yeah,
you don't
but
want to drop
as
it,
long as
you know?
as long as the case doesn't like deform when you drop it, then the item inside is not. It's not like an electrical appliance that
Yeah.
you might damage
I
some
think
small components.
that's probably what they mean by shockproof. It's probably lost in translation a little, but
I guess it's like if you're a free diver, then I mean this is like your baby kind of thing. If you're a pool free diver,
oh,
this is
it
your
is.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
always feel
Donny,
so. Mhm.
No, you
Go
go.
on. I thought you were going to admit something to me there, or
Well,
confess
I've
something.
got two, and I have a makeshift. My stepdad made me a makeshift carry case, and it's got foam around it, and it's got a compartment for my little add-ons down my neck, and then it's got a compartment for the base so that it doesn't get bent.
Oh, that's cool. You take a picture of it, and we'll put it in the show notes. I'd like to see your little
All right.
DIY lobster case.
Will do.
Yeah. All right, cool. Okay, so we don't have that many competition results for July, but
No.
let's mention them briefly here.
So there were quite a few small comps this month, but yeah, we talked about, in the interest of keeping the podcast nice and short and sweet, I won't go into all of them, but there were comps held in the Philippines, Croatia, Portugal, Singapore, Brazil, Hong Kong, a depth comp in Korea, and there's another depth comp currently happening in Greece. And there were also 2 statics comps held in private backyard pools on the same day in Sweden.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go into a couple. The AIDA Ultimate Freediving Challenge was held on the 2nd of July, and this was a pool comp held in Singapore, part of a series of competitions under that Ultimate Freediving Challenge banner. And there were a couple of national records broken here. Xing Quang Fu from Singapore broke the national record for no fins, 172 meters. We also had Dmitry Melnikov. Oh, I didn't put Dimitri's nationality on there. And I can't imagine there's too many Estonians that are freediving and at that kind of level. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen too many.
Yeah, Estonia is a pretty small country, but it's also one of those Baltic and Eastern, former Soviet countries that's you tend to have a relatively higher number of pool free divers. So yeah, but yeah, obviously the listeners are not going to hear this, but we were just I was just having this crisis about whether I knew this Dimitri or not, because I do know a Dimitri in Singapore who came to visit me in Taiwan, who's a Patreon supporter. And if it's the same Dimitri, which I think it is, then a massive congratulations. And if it's not the same Dimitri, then a massive congratulations.
Still massive
I
congrats.
just can't remember.
Yeah.
Just can't remember if it's because I think the Melnikov surname doesn't ring a bell. But okay, and there was one more as well for Malaysia.
Yep, for Malaysia, Phuk Tat Teng, another dynamic biofins record with 164 meters. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like every time we do these, I'm just like people are just getting so long in the pool in distances, and the bar has even in depth as well. Like the bar has been moved so much in the last couple of years. Like now living here in Dahab for this summer, you're hearing about people left, right, and center who are in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and they're just very much sort of like flying under the radar, but it's just basically become the new normal. I think we were saying something like 70 is the new 40 or something like that. But and then AIDA One Breath Statics Comp, that was one that you participated in, right?
Yeah. So that was one that I helped to organise, our club, Brisbane Freedivers. It was held on the 3rd of July in Brisbane. And it was a mini statics comp held at the Sleeman Sports Complex. And we had athletes from or representing Australia, the United Kingdom, Hungary, and New Zealand. And for the boys, it was a really exciting competition. We had 2 guys come down to Brisbane from Cairns and battle it out for the number 1 spot in the AIDA rankings for Australia. So Ant Judge went first, and he coaches all the crew that came down from Cairns, and he did a 6:34 static, so that put him 7:34, my bad. And so that ranked him number 1. And then right at the end, Troy, his teammate, did a 7:42, and he was clean as a whistle. So they're now ranked 1 and 2 in the men's AIDA rankings, but the men's national record is still 8:01, not in the ranking system, but they're getting closer. They're edging closer. And then for the women, so we already spoke about my dive, but I did a 6:18 static and broke the women's national record. But the point that I wanted to talk about here was that the record before me was held by Jordy Fisher for 11 years, which was the second longest standing national record, as I understand it, for Australia. The longest one is actually the men's static record. They were both broken in 2011. So I just wanted to do a call out to listeners asking what their longest standing national record is, and are they going for it? Are they close to it? Share with us.
Cool.
Share with us your longest standing national records.
So are there any other girls who are getting close to you or focusing on static? Do you feel them breathing down your neck now?
It's hard to know because, like with COVID, I've been so lucky that, like Brisbane, basically my club, my committee, we've run most of the competitions this year and a lot last year. Also, another club in Brisbane and down the Gold Coast run comps, so we don't really have to travel. But I don't know who's training around the country that could be doing 7-minute statics in the pool or in their bedroom. But yeah, I'm sure
Okay.
Amber will be training, and
let us know if you're hitting the 7-minute mark. Yeah. Okay. Ocean Rijeka Cup.
So this was held in Croatia on the 10th and 11th of July, a depth comp, and they had a maximum depth of 115 meters, so almost unlimited depth. I just wanted to share this one. Vidomir Maricic of Croatia, he broke the national record for constant weight bifins with a 104-meter dive, and this now ranks him 5th in the world in AIDA, behind Alexei Molchanov, Abdel Alouak, Arnaud Giraud, and Guillaume Nery.
Abdel Alouak.
Why are you laughing?
The AIDA Panglao depth games.
Yeah, so these guys at Super Home seem to be having tons and tons of comps. So this one was 16th to 17th of July. And congrats to Kamantu Pimpamai. We've actually given him quite a few shout-outs for national records, but he broke the constant weight national record for Thailand with a 103-meter dive. So, yeah, join the 100-meter club.
What's his name?
Okay. Kompantu Pimpamai.
Okay, good. Sounds good. Yeah.
Pimpamai.
Thai names are hard as well. Like they're always really long and fiddly.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to him and ask what his nickname is, because I feel like we've done quite a few national record shout outs for this guy.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So that's it. That's all that I wanted to share. A lot of the results for the comps that have been held in this last week, the results haven't gone up yet. But I actually wanted to get onto our next section. Where are they now in July?
Yes, so this
we
is
move on?
you have reached out to a number of the world's top and interesting free divers to find out what they've been doing in the month of July. Many of them will be preparing for VB, and many of them will be doing other things. Just one thing I wanted to point out there was that I saw today that Alenka Artnik had done 125 meters in constant weight and training. So
Yeah.
she's
25.7 to be
yeah,
precise.
okay. So that's 5 meters away from the world record. So, I mean, the overall world record, the absolute world record for men and women. So that's extremely exciting. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what she manages to pull out of the bag next week. Yeah.
She's amazing.
Even if she never
Yeah.
replies to my
Can't wait.
messages and never gets in touch.
I know, me neither. But her partner Florian replied, so I'll sort of that's my connection to her.
Well, she seems to be doing some kind of like she seems to be focusing basically on being the best free diver on the planet. So you can't really hold it against her. All right.
Can forgive her.
Where are they now? Davide Carrera, the wonderful monofin master.
Davide Carrera from Italy. Yeah, he is super lovely, and was really happy to send a voice message with what he's been up to. So he's a multiple world record holder, set his first freediving world record in 2001 in free immersion, 91 meters. He's also multiple Italian record holder for depth disciplines. And Davide is in Spain, or was in Spain, for the first half of July, training depth mainly. And then he traveled to Bahamas mid-July to train for vertical blue. He's also going to be competing at the CMAS Outdoor World Championships in Cache, Turkey in October. And just while we're talking about Davide, and thought, we were talking before, we would share their Freedive Cafe episodes. So Davide is Freedive Cafe episode number 22.
Yeah, and that's actually one of only 2 episodes that I have full transcripts for. So you can also find the transcript for that episode. But it's one of my all-time favorite Freedive Cafe interviews. The way that Davide talks about the water, he talks about making love to the ocean. It's brilliant. Like he's just obviously like completely in adoration of the ocean and how it makes him feel. Episode 22 of the Freedive Cafe at freedivecafe.com.
Also, I just wanted to give a big, say a big thank you to all the athletes who got back to me for this segment, because I know you're all busy and I know you're all training, but yeah, really appreciate you taking the time to respond. Yep. So thank you.
Yeah, and good luck.
Yeah, good luck. So next we had Lydia Lic from Croatia. She's a 5-time world record holder, world and European champion. She will forever be the women's jump blue world record holder forever. Yep. So she's been in Croatia for most of July. She is a super busy lady. She said she's been balancing work, training, summer activities, concerts, parties, and catching up with friends. No time to rest. Traveling to the Bahamas in late July to get in some depth training before competing at Vertical Blue.
Oh, cool. I didn't realize that she had decided to go in the end. That's great. It's been a while for her.
So she's still undecided. She's undecided about Ada, Depth World Champs, but she's going. But it'll just depend on how her training goes. And then for the CMAS Outdoor World Champs, Lydia will take up the important role of team captain for the Croatian national team. So she's she's right in amongst all 3 of them.
CMAS Outdoor World Championship, is that what they call the Depth World Championship?
Yeah, so CMAS, and then pool is indoor.
Okay, all right, move on. Lydia was the guest on episode 130 of the Freedive Cafe, if you want to hear her story.
Yep, that was a recent one. Next, Sheena McNally from Canada. She's Canada's #1 depth freediver and holds national and continental records. She is in Long Island, the Bahamas as well, training depth and competing at Vertical Blue. Sheena also competed at Vertical Blue last year. And you can listen to 2 Freedive Cafe episodes. Donny, what number are those?
She was on episode 85 and episode 108, and she's a massive favorite of the Free Dev Cafe fans. And yeah, we also started to do this live stream get together called Freediverology, a kind of a lighthearted, not too serious look at training and all things freediving and dad jokes and stuff like that. But if anyone is wondering what happened to Freediverology, basically it's just the technical limitations of the fact, first of all, Sheena was traveling to train at Vertical Blue. I was coming to Dahab, and it was just a big mess with the planning it out. So we're going to have to wait until I get back to Taiwan before we can start doing the Freediverology live streams again, but they will start to happen again.
Next, we have the one and only Will Truebridge, obviously in the Bahamas. He's training depth and tapering / recovering for Vertical Blue whilst organising Vertical Blue. He said his dry and pool training is on hold at the moment. What else? He said in the last week or so, the Blue Hole has been turning it on with immaculate diving conditions, 33 plus meter visibility. After VB, he's got Deep Week Bahamas happening there for the first time with Adam Stern, and then still deciding whether he will compete at the CMAS Outdoor World Champs. Obviously, he can't compete at ADA Depth World Champs because of Deep Week.
Okay, so...
And you can listen to Will Truebridge's.
Yeah, you can listen to Will. His episodes were episode 69 and episode 98 of the Free Dive Cafe. 2 excellent episodes, but especially that second one, episode 98, was just amazing. We sort of like used the structure of a deep dive as the basis for the structure of the interview. So really, really good one. Check it out.
And then Jungha Kim from Korea. She's a squillion time, 42-time Korean national record holder in both depth and pool disciplines. And she also holds continental records. She's in the Bahamas, ready to compete at Vertical Blue. She also competed at Vertical Blue last year, and I specifically remember watching some of her dives. And then Jungha said she's hoping to compete in one more international depth competition later in 2022. So stay tuned.
Yep. And then friend of the podcast, Wani. Yep.
Yeah, Wani Valdivia from Peru. He is a Peruvian national record holder. He's basically a member of all of ADA's medical and safety and science committees. He's the medical director of the US Freediving Federation. The list goes on. So Wani, in July, he spent his time between Tampa, Florida, and Long Island, Bahamas, doing depth training. He is going to be competing at Vertical Blue for the second year in a row, and then he's also planning to compete at the CMAS Outdoor World Championships in October. And then Wani also gave me a bit more information about what's next for him after doing these depth comps. And he said he's really keen to concentrate on his medical profession and working with the US freediving team.
Yeah, and Wani has been on the show a couple of times. He was on episode 99. And then he was also on episode 4 of the Freediving Journal podcast. That was a science episode where we looked at the fMRI brain scan imaging of a freediver's brain, actually Guillaume Nery's brain during static apnea, so that we discussed the findings from that study, which is very interesting. And I think that Wani will also be the next guest on the Free Dive Cafe. We've already recorded an interview. We're catching up about the latest in freediving medicine, and that's probably the next one that I'm going to put out. So that should be within the next week or two. It'll be episode 135 or something like that.
And then I spoke to Florian Burkhardt from Switzerland. He is 7-time Swiss national record holder in depth. And he has been in the Bahamas since June with his partner Alenka from Slovenia, training for Vertical Blue. And this will be his second year in a row competing in VB. I asked Florian whether he's going to compete in everything, but he said he's going to focus on constant weight monofin for vertical blue. Then after VB, both Florian and Alenka will take a holiday in Slovenia for a couple of weeks, and then they'll head to Kash, Turkey towards the end of August for CMAS Outdoor World Championships. And then Florian said after Kash, he will return to Switzerland to work during the cold season. He works in a bank. So, yeah, I'm always interested to know what normal or day jobs athletes have and how they afford to travel to these competitions like VB, because accommodation is expensive, flights, everything is expensive.
Yeah, a lot of them have money. That's the answer.
How? Let me in on the secret.
Okay. Matt?
Yep, Matt Molina from Poland. Current multiple world record holder in pool dynamic disciplines. Matt shared with everyone after the CMAS indoor world champs that he was traveling to the Bahamas to train depth and will be competing in vertical blue. Really excited to see what he can do in depth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a while since we saw Matt in depth in real freediving. Yeah. And Matt's been on this show.
Matt's been on the Freedive Cafe podcast a couple of times. I remember listening to 2 episodes, one after the other, that you had to break the interview into 2 because there was so much awesome content.
Mm-hmm.
So what numbers were they?
38 and 39 was the first double episode. I think the first double episode that I ever did. And then also episode 86. We did another episode, a training talk episode, I think. No, not a training talk. We did a catch up, but I think there is also a training talk on the Patreon. There's a whole bunch of episodes on Patreon. If you want to support the show, then, put a lot of work into the Freedive Cafe, especially. I mean, I put a lot of work into all these podcasts, and it's really nice if you want to say thanks. You can support the show through Patreon. I really appreciate everyone who does. And there's a whole bunch of episodes there that have never been released to the general public. I think there's something like 15 episodes, training talk episodes with some top athletes, and then a few other things that I plan to have as a series but never worked out, but still interesting interviews nonetheless. But I do plan to eventually release all those to the general public. But like I used to say, I'll put them out within like 6 months or something. But some of them I literally think are like 4 years old, and I haven't released them yet. So it's something that we'll have to take care of.
Next, we have Fatima Korok from Hungary. She's a 14-time Hungarian national record holder and 2-time world champion. Fatima is also in the Bahamas doing depth prep ahead of competing at Vertical Blue, and she's been posting pretty much every day on her Instagram with the dives that she's doing, and she is on fire. She did a 91-meter free immersion dive a few days ago, and then maybe 2 days ago she did a 70-meter no fins dive, which is
that's huge.
Like only a couple of women have done over that 70-meter mark.
Yeah, so she's 4 meters off
not far from the world record.
I think the world record is 73.
I think Alessia's got it at 74.
All right, so I was sure that at least in IDA, Alessia's world record was 73. I couldn't remember if she'd done 74 in CMAS. I don't know where to find the results, the rankings for CMAS freediving. If someone knows how to easily find that, if there's a page for it, because I can't find it, Jordy can't find it. She talks to the organizers when she gets the results for these competitions. But at least on the IDA rankings page, which may or may not be up to date, Alessia's world record in no fins still stands at 73 meters in IDA. So yeah, Fatima, very, very close. Yeah, I mean, God, she has a chance to take that if she keeps training like this. I know that she's in really great shape, and she's being coached by Julia Mose, so she has a very structured coaching for the last at least a year, I think. So yeah, good luck to Fatima. She's also a big fan favorite of the show. She's a lot of fun. And she was on episode 110 and episode 118 of the Freedive Cafe.
She has a really cool story as well. She's basically changed her whole lifestyle for freediving and to I guess help her to get the most out of her training and her performance. So yeah, really interesting episodes to listen to. And Fatima is also competing at both CMAS and AIDA Depth World Championships. So we'll get to see her 3 times. So awesome.
Cool. Okay. Yasuko Ozeki.
Cool. Yasuko Ozeki is a multiple Japanese national record holder in pool disciplines. Has been in Long Island, Bahamas, doing depth training ahead of competing at Vertical Blue. So predominantly a pool freediver, but yeah, looking forward to seeing her at Vertical Blue. And then we have Petar Klavar from Croatia. He's a world champion, world record holder for depth, CNF. He's been at home in Croatia training pool, gym, and depth. They're lucky there. They can basically train everything. And then he'll be traveling to Roatan in August to train for the AIDA Depth World Championships. And you interviewed Petar semi-recently.
Yep, episode 126. And I had in my mind
What
that he was
number
going
was
to VB. 126.
Then next, Mirela Kardasovic from Croatia as well. She is a multiple world record holder current in all 3 pool dynamic disciplines, I think, or maybe just monofin and bifins now after the most recent world championships. She's been in Croatia doing some dry training and pool training, and then in the second half of July, she actually took her 2 sons to Island Viz with her to do some depth training for a couple of weeks. Then she will head to Cash in August and September, training to compete at the CMAS Outdoor World Championships. So I'm also looking forward to seeing what she can do in no fins particularly.
Yeah, and she was on episode...
And you interviewed her on the Freedive Cafe?
Yeah, 112 was her episode.
Mariana Gillespie from France, world champion and multiple French national record holder. She is training in Kalamata in Greece. She trains there all year round, actually, and for half of this season was doing pool training, and now she's doing depth training ahead of competing at AIDA and CMAS Depth World Championships. Mariana said this is the first season or the first time that she's trained both pool and depth disciplines, and she's feeling stronger for it.
Yeah, she's cool. Super strong anyway, and she's going to the World Championships. Okay, cool. I thought she wasn't going to the World Championships this year, but okay, good luck to Mariana. And then Samo Yaranko was in touch.
Samo Yaranko, yep. From Slovenia, world vice champion, multiple Slovenian national record holder in both depth and pool. Legend. Happy birthday recently as well. So he's been in Croatia from the end of July to mid-August for holidays, training depth, and then he'll head back to Slovenia for a little while. And then in the last week of August, back to Croatia for some more depth training. And the plan is to compete at CMAS Outdoor World Champs in Cash. I'm really looking forward to seeing him dive again, my coach. And he was on the Freedive Cafe number 87. Walid Budiaf from Turkey, world record holder in variable weight monofin, is in Roatan, Honduras, training depth ahead of competing at the AIDA World Championships, Depth World Championships, and he was number 29, my pardon, on the Freedive Cafe.
Yep.
Then Amber Burke from Australia, multiple Australian national record holder in both depth and pool. She is in Roatan at the moment, training depth for the first time in 2 years, and will be competing at the AIDA Depth World Championships as well as CMAS Outdoor World Championships in Cash in October. And you interviewed Amber, Donny, number 40 on the Freedive
That was
Cafe.
a few years ago, and she was just on the tail end of having attempted a world record. So it was like she was aiming for like 73 in no fins, and I saw that she's getting back into the 60s now. So that just goes to show, sometimes you're way up there, and then you might have to take a step back and then slowly come back to depth. But she obviously has the dedication for the sport. She's given herself the opportunity this time to come back. So hopefully she'll be getting back up there in numbers again this year.
Jennifer Wendland from Germany, world champion, world record holder, 30-time German national record holder. She was in Greece training for depth, but is back in Germany now for the rest of July. She's headed to Roatan to compete at the AIDA Depth World Championships. And you interviewed Jennifer recently as well. Yep. What number was that, Donny?
Episode 128 for Jennifer.
Katerina Sidurska from Ukraine. She had an epic 2 pool world championship competitions. 22-time Ukrainian national record holder in both pool and depth.
Another big friend of the podcast, Thibaut Guignes.
Yep. He's just back from Deep Week in Bali, and so back to the Philippines, and he's opened a new freediving school, Camotes Freediving. So he's focused on, growing that business, not doing any big international competitions in 2022, but he said he'll be back next year.
Cool. Yeah, I'm really excited to see how Thibaut's place works out in the Philippines. It's a very nice center that he's built there with like a double lane, 25-meter pool, and diving conditions are supposed to be amazing there. So hopefully I'll make it out there at some point if I ever figure out how to make money and survive.
Rami Bloodlav from Sweden. He's Swedish and Nordic national record holder for statics. So following on from him competing in Pool World Champs, he said he's not training too hard and enjoying the school holidays with his daughters, but not training too hard and still did 3 static national record attempts in July. But now he's going to train a lot more dynamic, and he wants to be really competitive in all 4 pool disciplines at their Swedish Pool Nationals in November.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he's going to start training dynamic. Okay,
Donny,
exciting. Yeah.
Training everything.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And Rami was on episode 133 of the Freedive Cafe. That was quite recent. Check it out.
Elise Lai from Singapore. She's a multiple Singaporean national record holder. Elise is in Singapore in July, preparing for some more local pool competitions and not competing in any upcoming depth comps, but she's doing some dry training and online mouthfeel courses and hoping to join a depth comp in Panglao in October. Natalia Zharkova from Ukraine. She's 5-time world champion, multiple Ukrainian national record holder in both pool and depth. Natalia's been in Dubai working at Deep Dive Dubai for the last few months at least, actually since last year, I think. And she's currently taking a break from competitive freediving for now, but hopefully she'll make a comeback. She's only still quite young, so...
Yeah, and she's super strong. Back. So she really applies herself. I think that she will be making shapes in the water again in the future. She was on episode 66 of the Freedive Cafe.
Cool. Then William Joy from China. He's the 2021 AIDA Pool Total World Champion and multiple continental and Chinese national record holder in pool disciplines. William's been spending his time between Vancouver and Shanghai, visiting his parents and taking a break from freediving, doing some leisure sports such as swimming and gym. And he's not competing in depth yet, but he didn't rule it out. Maria Veronica Cordova from Ecuador. She also had some epic performances at the 2 Pool World Championships. She's 10-time Pan American Continental record holder and multiple Ecuadorian national record holder. She's pool training in Ecuador in July, preparing for the Pan American Championship being held in her home city in Ecuador in October.
All right, and then Adam, fellow Aussie Adam, what's he up to these days?
Yay. Oi. So Adam, multiple Australian national record holder for depth. He's been in Bali for the whole month of July running 2 deep weeks. So he said it's been a deep month, and he did his signature laugh that he does, his wholehearted big belly laugh. He's taking a couple of years break from competitive freediving while his 2 kids are really young. And he said this was actually, it was quite difficult for him to come to terms with making that decision, but he's at peace with that decision now. And then he's hoping when his kids are a little bit older that he and his wife will be able to take his kids traveling and living abroad, and Adam can get back into depth training and competitive freediving.
Adam was on episode 9 and episode 36 and episode 103 of the Freedive Cafe. Okay, and finally, Alexei Molchanov.
Alexei Molchanov of Russia. He isn't able to compete, unfortunately, at the moment with Russian and Belarusian athletes. Not being able to compete. But he's really focused on training at the moment. And he openly said it's okay to share that his main focus at the moment is constant no fins. And he's training, he's going to go for the world record once he's able to compete again. And he's really feeling quite strong, and that this CNF world record is achievable for him.
Yeah, and Alexei was on episode 35 of the podcast, Freedive Cafe podcast. Okay, now it's time for our PB shoutouts for July. Who do you have this July?
We've already kind of spoken about my PB shout out, which goes to Fatima Korok. I just think, like I said, she's on fire at the moment. I love that she's sharing her dive depth and videos of her dives as well. But 70-meter CNF, awesome.
Absolutely huge. Yeah, so very, very close to world record breaking depth there. Let's see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Could be exciting. And for me, I have a couple of PB shout outs this month. The first one goes out to my buddy here, Carlos Dietzel of Dahab Freedivers, who is going to go to the Freediving World Cup next week to compete there. And we've been training together. And yesterday the day before yesterday, he did 70, what did he do? 75 with the monofin as a new PB. And then yesterday he did 77 with the monofin. So another new PB. And I think that puts him into into national record territory. So hopefully he'll be able to maintain those depths or even improve them in the next week when he goes to Sharm. And then I also like to give a shout out to Rodrigo. Rodrigo, I'm sorry, I think your surname is Villalobos, Mexican fellow who's also a big fan of the Freedive Cafe and a long-term Patreon supporter. Rodrigo came here from Saudi Arabia, where he lives. And yesterday on his last session before he goes back to Saudi Arabia, he did 83 in free immersion. So absolutely huge dive. I was right beside him in the blue hole there. So congratulations to him. And yeah, so 2 nice PBs there.
Congrats all. So still to come in July, in regards to competitions, we've got a couple of national record attempts in freshwater, one in Germany and one in Switzerland. We've also got a depth challenge in Finland and Swedish depth championships in Kalamata, Greece. Then next month, the big ones begin. So we've got Vertical Blue from the 1st to the 11th of August at Dean's Blue Hole, Bahamas. And then the AIDA Depth World Championships will be in Roatan, Honduras from the 15th to the 25th of August. So they're the 2 big ones for the month of August. But also, Donny, you were saying the Freediving World Cup, was it? Or World Series?
Yeah, so Freediving World Cup, that's a series of 3 competitions that are held here in Egypt, in Sharm el Sheikh. There's one in May. We talked about that one already. There's this one coming up in August, and then there's another one in October. And some of the athletes compete in those competitions individually. Like they might just do one. Some do the whole series. But yeah, it's a very well organized, and it's organized by Andrea Zuccari of Freediving World. So it's got a good platform, good safety, scooter safety and stuff like that. So that's a nice one. I was going to take part in that one, but in the end, my finances didn't allow it. But maybe next year.
Will your body allow it after? What are you back diving now after COVID?
No, I did because I'm I was pretty sick, I decided just to start to focus on my bifins at the moment because I never trained it. So I did 60 for the first time.
Cool.
A couple of days ago. I did 64 yesterday. So I'm
Not-
trying to bring my bifins up to 70 before I start to go
bad.
deeper with free immersion. Free immersion is my deepest discipline, but I want to just lay off the depth a little bit because my chest is really messed up. Actually, I took a bit of a beating from COVID in my chest, and my cough
Got
is
you good.
really bad. Yeah, so I'm trying not to push it too much and enjoy my diving. But yeah, definitely, I wouldn't have been able to do the competition anyway, I don't think, or at least I wouldn't have been pleased with what I was able to do because I wouldn't be able to train. Yeah. So I think that's it for this month. It's been fantastic. Thank you for your contribution. If you want to get in touch, if you have any results that you would like us to share, if you have any personal stories or personal results or PBs that you want us to shout out, or you want to shout out for your friend, you could do that. Yeah, please get in touch. Send us an email to news@freediveandthrive.com and you will access Jordy that way and she will take care of you.
Yep.
What else?
And yeah, don't forget to send us your PB shout outs, please. And as we spoke about earlier in the episode, please send us your audio or video recordings telling us a little bit about yourself, where you are, why you freedive. We want to hear from you.
All right, awesome. Let's hope that we'll be hearing from you. And until we meet again, Jordy, dive safe.
Yeah, see you soon.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the latest news dispatch. If you would like to comment or make suggestions or, be pissed at me and let it be known, then you can do that. You can do that through the freediveandthrive.com contact page. You can do that at freedivecafe.com. You can do it on YouTube. Please check out the YouTube channel, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I am putting new stuff out there. I just put out kind of a 4-minute mini guided relaxation that was came out of the last episode of this podcast. So please visit Freedive and Thrive on YouTube. Best way to access me is through either Instagram, Freedive and Thrive, or Facebook, where I'm under my sort of real name, Donny Mac. Okay, there's going to be another couple of Freedive Cafe episodes coming out. First, we got Wani Valdivia coming back to talk about freediving medicine, and then I think we're gonna have Denny Gomer and possibly also Alex Ginas, all coming before the end of August, and then we'll have a news dispatch again and maybe a couple of little freediver stories, things going on. Okay, just keep an eye on the social medias and the Facebook pages and the website and all that kind of stuff, and I'll keep you up to date there. Okay, I'm gonna go and head down to Dahab Freedivers now to finish editing this and then watch the Vertical Blue competition online. Okay, talk to you next time. Dive safe.